Lorenzo Sewell. I have the honor and privilege of being the lead servant here at 180 Church, both in Detroit and in Pontiac. And I'm so grateful that you're joining us for 180 On Demand. Church has changed, hasn't it? Times has changed. So we want to make sure that we can give you the word on demand. You can click and encounter God. We are entering into a new sermon series entitled Jesus for Everyone. Yes, regardless of your tribe, your tongue, or whoever you associate with in terms of your cultural identifier, I want to encourage you that Jesus is for you. I'm not talking about religion. We talked about that before in our last series, and you're about to see a clip of religion versus relationship. And if you would like to tune in for the entire message, you can click encounter, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we would love for you to be a part of what God is doing at 180 Church. We offer wraparound services for a turnaround. We believe in transportation for transformation. We believe in housing that will shift our community's paradigm so we can be able to shift their atmosphere. We believe in education that leads to employment and entrepreneurship. We believe in a hand up, not a hand out. We believe in walking with our community hand in hand. And we also believe in healing the unseen illnesses of medical, mental, and dental illnesses. We believe that the local church is God's solution to the complex problems in urban America and beyond. Look forward to you being a part of what God is doing here at One
Together. Oh, I don't know how, but I know who he is. I don't know how, but I know why he's going to do it. Because he deserves the glory. So why did Jesus spit in this man's eyes? I don't know. But I would rather take spit from Jesus than all of the wisdom of men's ways. I would have to take a little spit from Jesus, a little saliva from my King, glory to God. I don't care how gross it might sound. If it comes from you, Lord, I know it's going to work out good. I know it's going to work out good. I might be uncomfortable, but this thing is going to work out good. I might not feel right, but this thing is going to work. I may be confused about it, but you're holding my hand for a reason. Remember point number two. Jesus, he gives spiritual sight. How do I know this? Let's look at verse 24. Look at this. And he looked up and said, I see people, but they look like what? Wait, hold on for a second. He's a blind man. How does a blind man know what trees look like? Wait, hold on for a second. I have to look at the text, and I have to ask myself hermeneutically, how does a blind man see trees? Watch this. Because he was subject to what he felt and what he heard other people say. So it's not that he saw trees. It's that his whole life he felt something and he heard people say that's a. So in his mind, he had an imagination of what a tree was. So the only thing he could do is describe to Jesus what he thought he was seeing. My friends, listen to me. There are some things in your life that you have allowed your feelings to determine what Christ is saying to you. You've allowed what other people have said to you to describe what God is showing you. And you have to say, Lord, I may not understand fully what it is, but God, as long as it's you, Lord, I know, God, you will get the glory through this. You will get the honor. Do not allow what people describe around you to determine what God is saying to you. Don't allow your feelings to determine your reality. He said, I see men as trees. I've thought about this passage for most of my Christian walk. How does he see men as trees? It reminds me of David in Psalms chapter number 1. Where he said, if you meditate on the word day and night, you will be like trees planted by the rivers of water. Could it be that this man was seeing spiritually? I don't know. Could it be that this man, God allowed him to see first in the spirit, then in the natural? I don't know. But instead of just pontificating the passage, this is what I do know. I know that Jesus did something that only he could do. He opened up this man's eyes to see something he never saw before. And I don't know who you are out there. I want to encourage you. If you allow Jesus to take you by the hand today, if you allow him to pull you out of some stuff today, he will open up your eyes to allow you to see things you've never seen before. Instead of us pontificating the passage and trying to understand things that seem to be unclear, one thing we do know, that if I can just put my hand in Jesus' hand and I allowed him to lead me, and although it may seem uncomfortable, and although it may not make sense to me, how many know that we serve a God that can make you see things you've never seen before? He can begin to open up your eyes to things that you've never known before. If you believe Jesus can give you spiritual insight, would you put your hands together and give him glory? Spiritual insight, the ability not to see in the natural but in the spiritual. Paul prayed it like this. He said, open the eyes of my understanding that I may be able to know how deep, how high, how wide, and how long your love is for me. Spiritual eyesight. Somebody say spiritual eyesight. When you have spiritual eyesight, you realize you don't battle against flesh and blood. When you have spiritual eyesight, you don't get mad at people. You don't get offended at people. Because you realize that that person can only do what the spirit that's controlling them causes them to do. You look past the natural and you see the spiritual. That's why we don't battle against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers in spiritual wickedness and high places. That's why we put on the full armor of God. I thank God for Officer Franklin, how he preached yesterday on the full armor of God. How many know that we need the full armor of God? In any season, we need to understand that our weapons are not carnal weapons, but our weapons are spiritual weapons, that we have weapons in this warfare. Your weapon is prayer. Your weapon is the word. Your weapon is the blood. Your weapon is his name. Come on now. How many know you have, this is a fixed fight, and you have some weapons. You have the blood, you have his name, you have his word. Come on now, you got to pull out your weapon, because Jesus gave this man spiritual sight. What is God showing you? What is he showing you that you've never seen before? What else do we see? Point number 3. Here it is. Jesus does what? He sets boundaries.
Wow, wasn't that an amazing message? Your next step is to click right now, Encounter. You can go to YouTube and subscribe. You are such an important part of what God is doing here at 180 Church. We cannot do what we do except through you. Now here's an opportunity for you to give. Just as Jesus gave generously everything for us, here's your opportunity to give sacrificially and generously, so that we can be the hands and the feet of Jesus Christ, not only in Detroit, but in Pontiac. We're believing God for Flint, Saginaw, Benton Harbor, Muskegon, and everywhere there is an urban context. We're believing God that we, the local church, we are the practical solution to the complex problems in urban America. We believe that your giving will help us transition people from tragedy to a testimony, a turnaround, from crisis to a Christ-likeness, or turnaround from crisis to self-sustainability, because we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. Thank you so much for clicking and encountering here at